so blue, I feel ache and my heart true. Now I feel bad, think of things wrong I did screw. Used to feel good, now I just miss you.
Hi, welcome to Scentuality. It's been a while since I made a video. I've basically just been busy lately. Had some DIY projects to finish up before the birth of my daughter, but I found myself with a little bit of time, so I'm just basically gonna make a perfume. I'm just gonna make it up as I go along and just see where it takes us. So let's begin. Okay, so let's get started. I have a pen, I have a notepad, I have a set of scales, I have a trusty little plastic beaker for making my formula in. I do recommend these. I got these from Perfume's World. I was a little bit skeptical in the beginning because they are made from plastic and sometimes it's hard to get the smell of oils out of plastic, but I'm happy to report that after putting them in the dishwasher, there is no residual smell left on the plastic. So these actually are really handy, really good value for the money, and yeah, I really recommend these. So I've got one of them, I've got a set of scales. I'm just going to make a note of how much that plastic beaker weighs, just for later on when we are working out the ratios between ethanol and oils. And once we've recorded that down, I'm then just going to press the tare button just to reset the scales down to 0, and we're going to begin. So let's have a look what we're going to add first. I'm not really sure what kind of perfume I'm going to make. I don't have anything in mind. I'm not really trying to make something that's masculine or feminine. I'm just going to let the perfume come together. I'm just going to follow my nose also, and really I'm not going to be conscious of anything other than you know, within the context of smell. So nothing that I'm going to use is going to specifically you know, be the result of a conscious decision I've made, you know, to affect the behavior of the perfume or to make it last longer, or you know, etc, etc. I'm just going to follow my nose and I'm just going to go you know, off the smell of the overall formula and nothing else. Maybe later on down the line I'll add some other things, but I'm just really working on how the perfume smells. The only thing that two things that I will add, which you know, have behavioral ramifications, are iso, super and hedione. I'll add some hedione for a little bit of diffusion if I want to make it a little bit more transparent, because I do tend to use hedione and iso super very early on, and obviously iso super I will also put in there as well, but everything else is, you know, just purely in terms of the smell. That's the reason why I'm using the oils. So let's begin. What will we add first? I'm definitely going to add some resins. I'm going to add some woods, but I'm not sure what woods I want to add. And I'm going to add some musk. But I don't know where to begin really. Where shall I begin? Let's figure out the woods. I have this Chinese cedarwood. I actually expected it to smell like cedarwood atlas, but to my surprise it doesn't smell anything like the other cedars that I have. It does smell oily, but it smells a bit more resinous, and it's, you know, it sort of has a hint of cedarwood atlas, but it's not very pronounced. It's very faint. It's definitely a lot more subtle. Yeah, but not something I really want to use. Don't particularly want to use cedarwood atlas. And I don't want to make anything too woody, and what I mean by that is, like, I've got amber max here, and that's just super woody. It's like super strong, and I have lots of oils that are similar, but yeah, this one definitely not what I'm after. It has that really strong smell of wood, you know, like strong as you know, ammonia is strong, where it kind of overwhelms your nose. That's exactly how I feel about amber max, and I definitely don't want that. I definitely want to make something that's a lot more subtle, But yeah, let's see what happens. What can we use? We don't really want to use cedarwood. Let's see if we've got some yavanol here, or some other sandalwood molecule. I have some real sandalwood here, but it's actually a 10%, and to be honest, I don't really see the point. It's very faint. Yeah, I'm not going to use any of that. But I think I have another one here somewhere. Okay, so I'm back now, and I've gathered a few different oils from my cabinet, which I think I might want to use. I've got some sandalwood molecules. I got a cyrol, I've got polysantol, I've got ebenol, and I also have yavanol. So I'm just going to take a quick smell just to remind myself what these smell like. I think, you know, when I think about sandalwood molecules, I tend to think of yavanol because that's my favorite. Is it polysantol that smells similar? Yeah, polysantol smells very similar to yavanol. Ebenol is slightly different. In fact, I'm quite anosmic to this tonight. I can't really smell anything from that. Yeah, so I think we're going to use a little bit of yavanol. I do have a molecule called wood-based Mysore, which I might also use just to give a little, you know, a different dimension, just build some things together. So yeah, we'll try a little bit of cyrol. Let's just use 2 or 3 drops of that. Okay, so I popped in 3 drops of those cyrol, and we'll just write that down. And we will record the weight. Okay, and we're going to add a little bit of polysantol. I think we'll add the exact amount, the exact same amount. So we're going to add 3 drops. We're going to add some Bacdanol. Bacdanol is probably my favorite sandalwood molecule. I really love yavanol, but I really enjoy the creaminess of Bacdanol, and using a mixture of them both is a really good thing. But if I had to choose just one sandalwood molecule to use in a perfume, I'd probably use Bacdanol, because I just think it has a fuller smell. And I just find that that's probably the best oil to use for my purposes if I had to choose between the different sandalwood molecules that I have, because I think the rest of them I would need to blend them together to be satisfied. But with Bacdanol, I'm pretty satisfied straight away. So this is really my favorite one, and I'm going to add 5 drops of that. The reason why I'm adding a little bit more of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is simply I want the creaminess to override everything else, and I just want the cyrol to be the backbone, and I want a little bit of that polysantol smell. I could have easily have used the yavanol instead, but I really want the Bacdanol just to you know, be prominent in that mix. So that's why I'm using 5 drops of Bacdanol, 3 drops of polysantol, and 3 drops of cyrol. And for now, I'm just going to leave that little sandalwood accord alone, and I'm going to add some different things, and we're just going to build something up. And then we're going to take a smell, see where we are, and then we're just going to adjust things. And that's basically what I do when I make a perfume. So what else shall we add? I think a little bit of calamus goes nicely with a bit of sandalwood. Calamus is actually restricted quite heavily, or completely restricted by IFRA. I'm not too sure, you'd have to look that up yourself. But it has a fantastic smell nonetheless, so I'm going to use some. And I don't sell my perfume, so it really doesn't matter. And you know, you don't need much of this, so a drop is sometimes enough. I just find that with a sandalwood accord, it just really lends a hand to that creaminess. And as I want to accent the creaminess, I want the focus to be primarily the creaminess. I'm just going to use a little dash of calamus. Yeah, so we're going to add a little drop, a little dash of this. Now, I don't know if you've just noticed, but I actually put in some Bacdanol, and I put 5 drops in, and instead of recording the weight, I pressed the tab button. So, you know, that's definitely something that you shouldn't do, because you don't know how much those 5 drops of Bacdanol weighed, and it just helps you in the future to reproduce your perfume exactly. And if, you know, one day you did get your perfume made up and you know, you sold your perfume, you're going to really need to know you know, the formula exactly. You know, you're not really going to want to deviate from that formula that you really liked. So yeah, that's a mistake, but this is simply just for this video, so I don't really care. So I'm just going to continue. I'm just going to make a note that there's 5 drops of Bacdanol in there. Basically, this just, you know, proves that I can't really make a perfume and talk at the same time. So now I think I want to add a little bit of that woodiness that I was talking about before, but Amber Max is definitely too strong. So I'm going to use a little bit of this Bourgeonal, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a 10% dilution. I'm just going to use a couple of drops of this. I will probably need to add some more later on, because it will get lost as I add more bass notes, but to start with I'm just going to add a couple of drops, because what I don't want to do is add too much. So I'm just going to add a couple of drops for now. And then I'm going to give it a smell later and readjust. So we'll make a note of that. So yeah, we've got the sandalwood, we've got a little bit of that Bourgeonal, so hopefully that's creamy. It's got some substance to it with the different sandalwood molecules together. We've got that little bit of calamus, you know, makes it all a little bit more interesting. We've got the Bourgeonal, gets a little bit of that woodiness in there. What else? I think I'm just going to start adding a few resins now. I think I'm going to add a little bit of Opopanax. This is 50% dilution, and this is an Opopanax resinoid. Let's have a smell. Okay, it's probably as strong as the calamus. Yeah. Let's have a look. I don't want to add a lot of this, but I want to add enough of it so that it's detectable, so that it's there. And I think the calamus will make it a little bit more creamier than what it is, because the calamus tends to become a blanket in the bass notes. It tends to mix into everything, but it always seems to be the prominent oil, but you still get a sense of everything else. So I really enjoy calamus because I just think it really blends well with other oils in the bass. So I think this opopanax will smell quite nice with it, and I'm hoping that the calamus just helps all of these notes just come together. So I'm going to use I use 3 drops of calamus, 2 drops of bourgeonal, and then you've got the sandalwood. I'm going to use 3 drops of this, and as I said, we'll just readjust as we go. So this is 3 drops of a 50% dilution. And I think we'll add a little bit of frankincense, I think. Just a touch. Don't want to add too much frankincense to begin with. This is very, very lemony. And I want a bit of it in there, but I don't want it to be too overpowering with the lemony aspect of frankincense. But I find with frankincense, it's another one that really helps things come together. So if I've got a lot of harsh notes in the base, I tend to use just a little bit of frankincense. I just find that it helps a lot. Not that I've got too many harsh notes at this point, but I'm just gonna put a bit of it in, because I do kind of want to make something that's a bit resinous, maybe a bit incense-like. So I'm going to put a little bit of frankincense in, but I think I'm going to put an equal amount of this in with the opopanax. But this is frankincense at an 100% dilution, so there is going to be slightly more frankincense in there, but I think in terms of smell, they smell about the same. So I'm going to add 3 drops of that. And then we're going to make a note of that.